Tirtha Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasangati Bodhiswatyata Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhiswatyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhiswaha. Okay. We do two things first, three things. First one is the question answer, some question answers, followed by, say, the 8 minor precepts tomorrow, and then followed by the remaining the class. Okay, first questions. Any questions that you might have, particularly questions from your discussions. Any questions?
Reality.
Yes.
What is reality?
What is reality? Okay, this is what we are studying now, right? Is the third seal, which we talked about. Everything is of the nature of emptiness, selflessness. That everything is like illusion, right? The question is, how can I know this? This is what we're going to spend the next 2 days. Any more questions?
When you want me to ask the question I asked in the morning.
Which question?
It was about the self. Is it?
Oh, so when
is exist in the internet state?
Which day I asked you to ask?
The last one.
The last day, right?
Sorry.
Okay.
You remember, I don't.
Okay, any more questions? Any questions? Okay.
About the star and the illusion and cloud.
Yes.
So, can you talk about it?
This is what I'm going to explain as a part of the main class. Well, the Ari is connecting us to the main class. You're interested more in the main class rather than question answer, right? About the reality, about what the stars, these things. This is a part of the main class. Okay, more questions. Okay. If not, say the one approach that we need to keep in mind is, as I said earlier, to 2 points. Be kind to yourself and be wisely kind to yourself. Don't forget it. So tell me, who should be that person who should be doing this? Be kind to yourself, be wisely kind to yourself. Buddhists? Or the Jews? Or the non-believers? The believers? Or who?
Everyone.
Everyone. You're getting it? Everyone. So the approach, whichever approach really makes you happy, go for it. It's not necessary that you should be Buddhist, you should be this tradition, that tradition. It is not necessary. I'm saying this again. Find whatever approach fulfills these 2 lines. Be kind to yourself. Be wisely kind to yourself. Go for it. This is so important. Never ever impose yourself into any category, right? Okay. With this, the Buddha said one thing, which I was about to share in the tea break time, right? It was back in 2003, end of 2003, when I was in England, and I met one, I think, Israeli or Jewish. I'm not too sure whether he's from Israel, but for sure he is a Jewish scientist, physicist, brilliant, extremely bright scientist. Then he's quite extreme. What he said was, we became friends, that you cannot really talk to him so easily, right? You talk to him and then he will instantly say that you have internal contradiction. You cannot talk to him, right? So all whatever you talk to him, there's no fun. He'll say that you have internal contradiction. Okay, he's so bright himself. Then he told me and my friends who were with him over lunch, no, over dinner. He said that in this world, only physics is education. Okay, how many of you are from physics? How many of you are not from physics? Physics. Okay, only one. There's only one person who's doing into education, right? All others, according to him, we are not into education. And I asked him why. He said, because only physics allows you to have a critical thinking. All others are imitation of the earlier teachers. This is what he said. So then I said, okay, if this is the reason, then I'm happy. Then I quoted him what the Buddha said. This is very important, what the Buddha said. Then I quoted what the Buddha said. I asked him, listen what the Buddha has to say. Bhikshus and the wise men and women, meaning the monks and nuns and the wise men and women, just as the goldsmith tests the purity of the gold by cutting, rubbing and burning the gold, you should also examine my words and put them to practice, not simply because you respect me. This is what the Buddha said. Then he remained silent for a few seconds. Then he said, oh, the Buddha must have been a great physicist. Right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so the point is that this is the Buddha's approach. So therefore, take things easily. Don't take things so, the rigid. But this is what the Buddha said. We have to follow this. So this is, the part of our ritual. This is part of religion. We have to do this. No, just keep them all aside. Take what is beneficial to you. Finally, be kind to yourself. Be wisely kind to yourself. Right? Okay. With this, so the Leo now is requesting that we do the 8th minor precept tomorrow. So, in fact, since I think the first 2 or 3 Bodhicitta retreats, we took the 8 minor precepts. And then slowly I dropped this idea. Instead of that, we take the aspiration Bodhisattva vow every day. And then the oral asked this. I'm just wondering, is it really to be done, or it suffices by doing taking the aspiration Bodhisattva vow? What do you think? Okay.
I think that you may say, I've already taught us to teach more. Okay, thanks.
I see.
But maybe it will change.
So basically the idea what I'm saying is that all these teachings that is happening on the Bodhicitta retreats, not only Bodhicitta retreats, all my teachings, whatever is happening, my teachings, all teachings, I always take that not as a student, the teacher-student relationship. It's more as just academic studies. People to grow, learn, grow, finish, and not as a teacher-student relationship. For example, in Tibet House, we organized a big program, Nalanda Master's course and Nalanda Diploma course. In both cases, there is no teacher-student relationship. It's purely, more academic, purely academic for somebody to learn and benefit, finish, right? So all these rituals of, now she's my teacher, he is my teacher. So this thing is not there. So because of which, we always take the aspirational Bodhisattva vow.
May I check please if it's reversible? Yeah. I'll just check if we are reversible in the kitchen.
Yes.
So come back with an answer.
Wonderful. Okay, so the point is that the point that I'm saying is that particularly my classes, all these classes, to make them more academic, for one to learn, to know what the Buddha taught. That's good enough, right? And then the aspiration Bodhisattva vow is not a problem. Aspiration Bodhisattva vow, as I said earlier, it is no commitment. So at the most, the commitment that if you really want to have a commitment, it is, in the first place, there is no commitment. And if you really want to have a commitment, commitment is simple. From today onwards, I'll try my best to be kind towards others, to be of benefit to others. If not, at least I'll not harm others. This much, if you can commit, this is good enough as a part of your having taken the aspiration Bodhisattva vow, right? So therefore, this is easy. So, particularly with me, with other teachers, I don't know. With me, this is a very simple, very simple relationship. It's more like a friends, right? Friends, and to help each other to learn. From your questions, I learn. And then interaction from this, you may learn something, and I learn from you. So this mutual learning taking place. It is for this reason that from the Bodhicitta retreat number 2 or number 3, then I dropped this idea of doing in group. Individuals can do yourself, but in a group, that I am conducting this, what is known as the 8 minor precepts. So this usually I avoid doing it. So I do the aspiration Bodhisattva vow, right? Yes, Adi, you want to say something?
Yeah, you said this morning that Buddhism and Buddha is to explore. It's he show איך אנחנו אומרים, מגלה דברים,
חוקר.
discover and explore things.
Yes.
To the world, תורת הנפש, תגיד. תורת הספר.
Psychology.
No.
תורת הנפש.
You explore everything.
Yes.
What do you think about science about this? Science.
So science also explores.
Yeah, but in a part.
Yes, okay, wonderful.
You understand?
Yes. So science explores in part. Physics only explores physics, not biology.
Not
Chemistry.
psychology.
Not psychology.
Yeah.
Only physics.
Yeah.
And biologists, they explore only the biology, not psychology, not physics. So they only do in parts. Whereas the Buddha explore in the comprehensive.
It gives power to everyone.
In comprehensive form. Wow.
Yeah.
But Ari, you're thinking so good.
No, it's like this. You're right. The physics, you're right that Buddha was also physics.
Exactly.
You're right.
Yes, he's right, yeah.
He's right. But
Yeah.
he's also good in
Psychology. He's good in psychology, he's good in physics, he's good in chemistry, everything.
You
That's
can
true.
just say to him this.
Wonderful,
This is the
wonderful.
meaning of perfect.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
we have the choice, so shall we take the Bodhisattva vows?
Bodhisattva vow will take. So until the 8 minor precepts. This is different.
Yeah, I know. So we have the choice to
So I would say,
It can be reversible.
no, what I'm saying is I personally would prefer just taking the aspiration Bodhisattva vow and not the 8 precept. Yes. 8 minor precept, I would leave it onto the individuals. Right? And some of you must have already taken the 8 minor precepts yourself.
Okay, so does anyone want to take the 8 minor precepts more?
תראי בעברית, בגלל שלא כולם יודעים את המיינור פריסטס ואת ה...
Does anyone wants to take the 8 minor precepts more?
I still don't know what it is.
לקח 2 מהחמישה?
הם לא כולם יודעים מה זה. ליאור, זה מתנגש, ב6 הוא כבר מתחיל, אי אפשר.
Okay, so the initiative coming from Leorella, this is very precious, but I should be very honest. So I personally say from the Bodhicitta retreat 2 or 3, then I stopped that. I emphasize only aspiration for Bodhisattva. Let's do that. And then the individuals, you can take the 8 minor precepts individually. Okay. Any other questions? No questions.
Maybe. You said that, the Buddha said, is delegate. That the mind is cause of suffering. The ignorance, but
Mind
it's
is
all
not the
from,
cause of suffering.
No, it's all coming from the mind, no outside the circumstances. But we need the two, yeah. So one who doesn't put the mind, like in Alzheimer or dementia, when the mind is not really
The loss of the brain, loss of
the brain.
memory.
It's not only the brain.
No, it doesn't matter. Loss of memory and so forth.
Yeah.
There was a
So,
question.
but they still suffer.
Yes,
Some of them, of course.
Of course, they suffer. So, what's the question?
So it's not that their ignorance is the cause
Okay.
of suffering, right?
So
Do you understand me?
Instead of okay, your question is that some people, because of the old age, because of brain damage, because
Yeah.
of Alzheimer's, dementia, loss of memory happens, and then they suffer terribly. They're so scared. They're so scared. Not all.
Yeah. Some
Many,
really
many.
don't suffer. Yeah.
Many someday they are like bliss and ignorance is bliss.
Yes.
Okay, right, it's fine. But many they become so
They
scared. They become so scared because they don't remember.
Yeah.
You know?
Also, or feel like sorrow.
Sorrowful. Yes, that's true. So, how come that this is not because of the ignorance? This is because of the brain, the damage, dementia, and so forth. So how come that this problem is coming from the ignorance? Okay, so this is a very good question. How the ignorance is responsible for all the problems? Two ways. Ignorance, on the spot ignorance, and the initial cause as the ignorance. Same, if I shoot an arrow from here, shoot a very powerful arrow from here, I shot it, say it may hit 1 kilometer away, hit the target 1 kilometer away from this. The person who is sitting there 1 kilometer away from here, they cannot see who shoots the arrow. Right? Who shoots the arrow? They have no clue. But the arrow comes. So when the arrow comes, which means there is somebody who pulls the arrow, who pulled the arrow initially. So who pulled the arrow is the ignorance. Right? So what we're experiencing as the loss of memory, fear, and so forth now, although you don't have the ignorance at the moment, all these things are the results of the arrow of the ignorance, arrow of karma, shot by the ignorance since long time ago. We don't see the ignorance right now, but it's a result of this arrow shot. Not that everybody suffers the same problem.
Yeah.
Some suffer, which means that why some have this problem, why some do not have this problem. Despite the same dementia, some have the fear, some do not have the fear. It's because of the long-term arrow of the karma shot already by the ignorance. Initial trigger of all these karmas is the ignorance. And this ignorance, which triggered the karma, you might have accumulated this karma not in this life, in the past life, 10 lives before, 1,000 lives before, like this. Okay, so this is one thing, right? Okay, any more questions?
I didn't understand what do you mean I need to clean the karma before. Years ago, if I have the same problem that she took.
Okay, so
I
the
have
question
the
is
same problem.
how to purify the karmas?
Okay, how do you
Is-
purify the karma?
This is the question, very good. Okay, purify the karmas, they are the four means, so and four remedies taught. Four remedies taught, also known as the four powers. Four powers to cleanse and purify the negative karmas. One is the power of the basis, number two is the power of the regret, number three is the power of the antidote, number four is the power not to relapse the negativities. Four powers,
What is not?
not to relapse.
לחזור לפעם אחרת, לחזור וכדי positive relapse.
So the four remedies. First one is remedy of the basis, the power of the basis, meaning that you go for refuge, you take generate Bodhicitta, so that way there is basis. Then the power of the regret. Negative karma that you've done, we need to have a tremendous regret over having done this negativity. Number three, the actual remedy to cleanse the negativities. That is, particularly the wisdom of emptiness, meditation wisdom emptiness, meditation bodhicitta, then you're doing the Vajrasattva practice and so forth. Then finally making commitment that henceforth I will not relapse, I will not repeat, I will not repeat the negativities. These 4 powers. So with these 4 powers, then the negative karma can be cleansed and purified. Very good. Okay. Any more questions? Yes.
Is the definition of permanence something that doesn't change?
Say it again.
The definition of permanence, is it something that doesn't change?
Finishing.
The
Definition permanence.
Is it something that doesn't change?
Okay, this is a good question. Okay, permanent phenomena. Permanent and impermanent phenomena. What does it mean by permanent? Permanent phenomena is a phenomena which does not undergo change.
Like something that is existing since beginningless time and there's no end.
Yes.
It has some kind of permanence, although it keeps changing, but the permanence is in the existing.
Okay,
So how do you
okay.
define
So
this?
say the definition remains the same. I cannot change the definition.
Okay,
The
so
definition remains the same. How to resolve?
yes.
How to resolve the problem? Say the self. We said that the self existed since time immemorial and it will go endlessly. But the self is changing all the time. So it's changing all the time, but there's something permanent. It lasts forever. Right? So how do you say that it is not permanent?
Yes.
This question.
That's the question.
Okay. So permanence, Acharya Dharmakirti in Pramanavartika, this text, Pramanavartika, Acharya Dharmakirti explained it very beautifully. What is that? Is that impermanence and permanence, there are 2 ways of understanding it. How the ordinary people understand it and how the logicians understand it. How the ordinary people understand it is if something lasts forever, we call it permanent. This is ordinary people's understanding. And the logician's understanding is that something which does not undergo change, that is permanence. So depends on how you want to see. You want to see things from the ordinary point of view, ordinary people's point of view, or from the logician's point of view. More precise, more technical sense, or in a loose sense. If you go in a loose sense, you say the self is permanent. If you go in a technical sense, then self is impermanent, it's not permanent. But it lasts forever, it doesn't matter. And this is ordinary people's understanding. We are not going to mix the 2 things up. Right? Okay. Any more questions?
You know, we talk about how to purify the karma.
Yes.
So the negativity.
Yes.
You think that what I think in negativity, or people think about in negativity, cause the problem, and I need to change the attitude,
Thinking?
the thinking, and the attitude.
Wonderful. Okay, so these problems, they arise from the wrong thinking. Right? So can we purify the negativities, or you purify the thinking? Change the thinking. Very good. Finally, the real purification is you change your thinking.
It's easy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect. Wonderful.
You cannot change the activities that you make.
So the past, what has happened to the past? What happened to the past? What happened in the past you can purify through your practice of bodhicitta, wisdom emptiness, vajrasattva practice and so forth. What you did in the past. Now that you don't accumulate in the future, change your thinking. Wow, everybody said is so meaningful. Thank you. Okay, good. Now go back. Right? Okay. Say what we said is that to get out of the problems of the dream, the nightmare of the dream, what should we do? There are 2 things. One, you call your father. And then the father, in the dream, you call your father in a dream, right? And father comes and says some mantras and the ghosts disappear, right? Disappear temporarily. And then the father is again the ghost comes. This is a temporary relief, it's not a permanent relief. If you want permanent relief, what should you do?
Wake up.
Wake up. Wake up. Right? This is the permanent relief. Tell me, what's the difference? What is it the same person or 2 different persons? One who's in the dream who is going through so much of fear and the one who wake up and the fear dissolves. Are these two the same person or different persons? Same person. It's the same person. But how come that you in the dream you have so much of fear? And how come that your fear dissolves when you wake up?
You know it was a dream.
Okay, in the dream, why did you have so much fear?
It seems real.
Because the dream ghost, which is actually not a real ghost, you saw that as a real ghost. A real ghost, you're getting it? Okay. Now, Ari, listen carefully. This is your question. You asked what is the reality.
It's on the...
Yes. Listen. Now I'm giving answer to your question, right? So the question is that when you are in dream, you see the dream ghost as real ghost, not as the dream ghost, right? When you see the dream ghost as real ghost, then the fear arises. Tell me, seeing the dream ghost as real ghost, is this a valid mind or this is an invalid mind? Seeing the dream ghost as the real ghost is a valid mind or an invalid mind? Invalid mind. Ignorance or wisdom? Ignorance. So therefore with ignorance fear increases. Getting it? The same person when you wake up, the fear dissolves. Why the fear dissolved? Why the fear dissolved?
It's ignorant.
Huh?
Get out from ignorance.
No.
It's not true. It's not
Yes. So when you wake up, how the fear dissolved was because you know that the dream ghost is not a real ghost. You getting it? The dream ghost is dream. Dream is coming from a mind or from the object?
Mind.
From my mind. The dream ghost is coming from my mind, not from the object. So knowing the dream ghost as not real, is it ignorance or wisdom?
wisdom.
Wisdom. With wisdom, fear dissolves. This is a fun benchmark. With ignorance, fear increases. With wisdom, fear dissolves. Right? And this wisdom what? Wisdom of waking up from the sleep of ignorance. Wisdom of waking up from the sleep of ignorance. You're getting it? Okay. So, for this, now, the question, what is reality? Right? To wake up, to see the reality, you have to know what the reality is. Okay, tell me. What is in my hand?
Flowers.
Flowers. Right? Okay, what is in my right hand?
Nothing.
Nothing is there. Okay, imagine a blue flowers. Okay, tell me, what is in my left hand? Red flowers. What is my right hand?
Imagine
Imaginary blue flower. Don't say blue flowers, right? I don't know blue flowers. It's the imaginary blue flowers. Okay. Now tell me. This is extremely important. Tell me the difference between these two things. This red flower in my left hand and the imaginary blue flower in my right hand. What's the difference? Just speak your mind. What's the
Exists a
difference?
lot of this.
Imaginary flower is does it exist or not? Imaginary
Not
flower.
exist.
Imaginary flower.
It's not real.
Not exist.
Imaginary flower does not exist as a real flower, but it exists as an imaginary flower. You're getting it? It exists.
Yeah.
Although as an imaginary flower. So what's the difference? Tell me.
These are real.
One, imaginary flower does not have the physicality, and the red flower has the physicality. One good difference. And the one says, one is imaginary flower is not real, and this red flower is real. Any more points?
Impermanent.
Huh?
The real one is impermanent. And the
Okay.
imaginary is
This one is impermanent thing, and the imaginary flower is just coming to mind is the not impermanent phenomenon. Okay, any more distinctions? Any more distinctions? Huh?
You talk about illusion now.
No. We stick to this.
Yeah.
Red flower and imaginary blue flower. What's the difference? Huh?
the real one has a nice smell.
Okay, I'll tell you one thing.
This is blue and this is red.
And the other one is blue.
This is blue and this is red.
Okay, imaginary blue flower is blue. It's not blue, right? It has no color. Right? It's the imaginary blue. It is imaginary blue color.
Color, yeah.
It's not a blue color. Right? Okay, tell me what's the difference between this flower and the dream flower?